Today begins a journey of the new year. So happy Yule, my friends. Stay safe, stay blessed. And let's get some witchcraft on, shall we? Okay, so for those of you that got a chance to join us yesterday, that would be Rex, Johnny, Mike. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you sitting there with me. And we go through the gnosis. We go through the rituals. We go through the dialogue of difference, right? Same words, or rather, different words, same meaning. And this comes from the practice of bridging communities, bridging traditions. And this is the techniques of arch mastery, right? We are not looking to do this for the sake of just doing this. We're looking to do this for an effect. The effect, in this case, is to create a new world. And so why not use it and leverage it with the full power of the divine in all its glory, right? Like, if we can help make you become your own emanation of the divine, that's our job as magicians. Like, other magicians should be elevating other magicians, like training people, the new that are coming into this world that need to be taught the right ways so that they don't fuck up and they don't have to go through some of the experiences that a great many magicians do. And that would be the break. That would be they have to go on the journey because they invited the energies in and they broke themselves because they didn't have the right guidance or they didn't have the right information or the books were lies, right? And so today is about that journey. Today is, instead of the thing that I was going to create, what I'm now moved to do as a result of my meditations from yesterday and today, is that we're going to be using spikenard, we're going to be using bay leaf, and we're going to be using the barberry. Finally found it. Funny enough, it shows up when you need. So, spikenard is about the journey that one is on. Bay leaf provides protection. And barberry banishes chaotic energies and creates a defensive barrier. So for the properties of today, what we are up to, what we are getting into, as today is Yule, as we are creating a new journey of the year, the sun gets to come out from its darkness and into the light. And so we honor the pagan holidays. We honor the ancient holidays, right? Like the fire festivals of light. Like I've got a candle going to invite the spirits in. And, you know, it's like when we see the spirits, when we interact with the spirits, and they take form, and they show up, and there is visible imprint in the space of what they are, they're not necessarily evil. They are not necessarily dark. They are not necessarily, they're just different. They're different forms of life. It's like going out into nature and being approached by a cat that's feral and it wants to sit in your lap, or a bear cub that needs you to help it, right? Like, yeah, it could totally slice your face off, but the way you approach it, you know, if you feed it, if you give it honor, if you pet it, like, it could be your friend. Be friends with this stuff, guys. This is not scary. But we are doing the blend for the journey today because it's a really important thing to begin, especially as there are people that are going to be developing the rites of transformation. The work of a magician before that ritual is done, and then the work of the people after that ritual is done. Like, there is a difference in how magic works when you do that stuff. And today, you know, this is a blend that's for those people that are on that specific journey. And so, like, I've had friends that get scared off by it. I've had people over the years that are like, I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it, right? Because they're not ready for it. They don't trust themselves enough. So I hope that, you know, in making this kind of journey, in making this kind of blend, that you set your intent. Like, the spikenard is to, again, bless your journey. It is to the inevitable journey on your path, right? And through that journey, we're going to use the bay leaf. Now, I had a really great experience growing up where I was at in Northern California. And that, like I said, was a place in Alston Park. They had a bay tree that was growing. And so I would do rituals and meditations inside the bay tree, right? Like, because it would come down and it had a canopy, and inside was an area underneath the tree to meditate with it. And so when I think of the bay tree, I think of those moments. I think of all of the application for that. Now, this stuff is already pre-ground, and I'm using a teaspoon of it. So, yay, found the measuring spoons. So that way, like, you know, can get you accurate representations of making the stuff balanced. So it's about a teaspoon of spikenard, and it's about a teaspoon of the bay leaf. And when it comes to the barberry root, because it is going to be a little bit denser, I'm going to be using a little bit less of it. This is going to be stuff that you want to make sure that you're not pregnant, nursing, or what have you, right? Like, mind your allergies with this stuff. I'll use a teaspoon of this stuff too, just to keep it balanced. But the density of it is a little off. So it while it's the same measurement, visually it looks a little bit different. So you just have to be careful in how you do it. So I'm gonna get to grinding this stuff down. We're gonna get to conjuring some stuff today. Today's a day to refresh your talismans and your protective wards and boundaries and such. You know, it's like yesterday I spent the morning after doing the spell a day and created the different blends from, where did they go? Week 3 spell 1, week 1 spell 1, week 1 spell 6, week 2 spell 7, week 2 spell 5, week 3 day 7, week 3 day 3, week 1 spell 2, week 3 day 2, week 3 day 6, week 2 spell 2, and yesterday's spell of the day was week 5 spell 2, in order to create the foundation of a protective talisman, right? And you know, you add your blood to it, and you tag the ingredients in the union between those ingredients and the protection that you're seeking, right? Because you're creating a pact, you're creating a reflection of the spirit, you're giving those things to the talisman, right? Like you're feeding the talisman, right? And so in this case, those are positioned now around the house, right? So that today they take effect, like they kick in, right? Last night, it's like that quasi time, that in-between time of when we do spell work in the in-between. All right, like those are the liminal spaces where things can slide through, right? And so, you know, you get those spiritual interactions, and you get those developments, which can be good for you, or they can be bad for you, depending on if you let your psyche break. But again, this is about protecting you on the journey and banishing those chaotic energies. And so what you can do with this is, again, you can add this to your talismans. You could do this as far as an incense smoke if you're going to be doing the pathworking meditations, if you're going to be setting out and doing the union spells for the first time. You know, for a lot of you, if you go to the last hour and a half or so of that 6 hour, I'm going to call it a fucking summit, because that's what it was. It was like some amazing magicians. Absolutely, Joan. Absolutely. You know, yesterday, if you watched the 6 hour summit between Rex, myself, Iajani, and Mike, what we were up to is we went through everything. Like all the stuff that's supposed to be hidden away in the books or hidden away in the techniques. It's like I experienced that stuff firsthand. He experienced that stuff firsthand. He's using the 19th century stuff. I'm using the 14th century and earlier stuff. Right? Like I'm not trying to use modern magic. I'm trying to recreate the ancient stuff that's viable, that works, or it's described in a way that's not, you know, like there are prep work rituals that you have to do. There are the union rites you have to do. There are the transformation of the spirit that you have to do in order to be able to get the power that I'm talking about, the energy from you and the sources that I'm talking about. But outside of that, you can do the meditations for the union for the elements. Like I spent years doing that beforehand. Like I was a magician for 7 years before I even did the rite of transformation. Like you can have your entire journey before, and then you'll have an entirely different journey afterwards, right? It's like you go through up until this point, you recognize yourself as a human magician, and then you recognize yourself as a spirit incarnate magician. That's a difference. And that will change your path. That will change how you approach things. That will change how you approach your community. That will approach your requirements of service to others. And so, you know, as we go through and we work on these spells, you know, my eventual goal is to get you into a 3-month training program where I prepare you for those things. So that way you can take where you are, you can start applying the differences, and you can begin to see the changes between the states. Like the changes between who you are now, who you are 3 months into magic, and then after the rite of transformation. So that you can apply higher level principles to the communities. Like the community leaders are the ones that I want to have done the rite of transformation, so they are the access points to the source, right? Whereas the magicians that are learning, the magicians that are selling the blends to get money to get their food or to get their medications or to get their medical necessities or whatever it is through the co-ops that we create as a result of this program, like this is really important, folks. Like the Spell a Day program, developing these rituals, getting stuff that works and getting stuff out there into the community is probably some of the most important work that we can do this year in order to be able to help stem the tides of the homelessness problem. Like the street magicians that go into the drugs because they're too psychic or they're trying to get a specific message through the spirits of the plants, and they're using those and imbibing those in order to be able to get the visions and such. Like, that is a shamanic inversion. That is you're going into the other world on purpose, and you're giving your body no choice but to carry your spirit along with you, right? You don't have to do it that way. Like, you don't have to have your magic bound to you in that capacity. What you can do is you can recreate those energies, that environment that you're trying to bring in, and you can make it manifest around you. And as a result, this is the kind of thing that you can use as a boundary circle, as an incense base. Again, mind your allergies. Like, this stuff I know won't fuck with me, so I can burn it. I don't know about you. You gotta basically you do your homework on that. Like, you know, you want to make sure that you're not a pregnant person, you're not breastfeeding, you're not doing those things, right? Because people are stupid. But when you're doing these things and you're making the considerations, right? When you're grinding them down, even talking about what you're doing when you're grinding them down is important, because it gives you the focus, and you're talking to the ingredients, you're talking to the spirit of those plants that are being commingled with each other, right? In alchemy, the term is commixtion. You're mixing them together, right? You're preparing them for their next level of evolution. And in this case, we're going to be burning it, so it'll be the smoke, right? And so this will be something that I use as a base for protection on a journey, right? Now, bay leaf can poison you. Too much of it, you can't eat it. Like, you don't want to. Like, this is an outside blend. Like, this is an outside on my patio. I'm going to make a spirit manifest, and I'm going to thank it for its service, right? I'm going to give honor to the spirit of the trees that were cut down. Like, they were enormous trees. You know, I was looking forward to this spring because last spring we had hummingbirds nesting in that tree that was right outside my patio, and then they cut it down this year, and it's super sad because that was the tree that I talked to when I was, you know, I would go out, have a cigarette, talk to the tree, breathe on the tree, feed offerings to the tree, bleed on the tree, like, you know, that was a friend I was making, and so for it to be gone, it's like it's a loss of a direct friend in nature that is irreplaceable, right? And so part of this year has been the loss of a lot of irreplaceable things, like either people thinking I'm an asshole, my family and I not getting along very well. Like, it's all a really deep, shitty thing. And as the year wraps up, I want to get back. I want to be able to figure out a way to balance that relationship. You know, I want to figure out a way to balance those applications of this stuff. So when we start thinking about how we can become living kami, right? Like in Asian magic, specifically in the Japanese culture, they have a view that everything has the potential to become a god. Everything does. A rock does, a tree does, a living spirit does. If it can serve mankind in some way, it has the potential to elevate its state and become divine. And so that is my driving goal, is to get people to understand that through practice, through channeling these energies inside themselves, you can access the divine. You can embody the divine in a different kind of way than everybody else. And so doing that and embracing that and owning that is to step into your power so that you are a witch, you are a magician, you are an occultist, but you are an extension of the divine, acting as the divine's emissary on this planet in your manifestation. So who you are and what you are is divine. And you have a responsibility to serve your community as a result of that. And so that's why protection on the journey, banishing the chaotic energy and creating a barrier between the bullshit and what your journey actually is really important, especially today, because it's Yule. It is the solstice. We are going forth from darkness into light. Like, the days get lighter now, right? So that's why today's blend was changed up from the books. So again, love your journey. Like, it's going to be hard. Lean into it. You can talk about the gnosis. You can go live in the Workable Witchery group, and you can talk for hours if you want to. You want to get involved with it? You want to shoot me a private message and we can chat? Fucking do it. Because you're not alone in your magic. You know, and getting you to be a local regional emissary for practical purposes to serve your community better, so that you can be an asset to the psychic shops that are the brick and mortar. Like, you could go in there and you could be making these blends and putting them on the shelf there. Like, you could be our local manufacturer, right? Our recipes, you know, just send us a cut of what you make. Like, in order to be able to get marketing, get books, get materials, build out infrastructure. Like, I'm not looking to do this just to make money on it. I'm looking on this to build a community around magic again. So that way we can get gardens, we can get safe spaces, we can get groves, we can do all of the things, right? And that's what this blend is for. To protect you on the journey on the way. To give you the means and the insights to be able to make your wishes come true with magic. With your power as you manifest yourself as a god, right? And not as like the God of the Christians. I'm talking about as something much, much deeper. I'm talking about something that's much more tangible. Because if you feed a homeless person, right? Or you give them an opportunity, or you take something that was like my old employers, Shelby and Selena, right? Like, I was working in a Pier 1, and it was selling them a basket for their fake poop pen holder display. They got me the job at Joker's in the Comedy Store out in Savannah, Georgia. I was working there for 2.5 years. They taught me everything about the adult industry, right? So then I was able to go out to Vegas and work my way up to be the extreme fetish buyer for the Deja Vus, right? So that was 5 years in, and then I opened my own shop with my mom out here in San Diego, right? Like, that was a thing. Like, that was an entire journey that started with an interaction. One interaction because of service. And so, regardless of how you serve and for what purpose. It could be simply a basket for a bunch of gag items that they could sell in their store, or a carpet, or whatever it is. You know, I was doing weddings, I was doing exorcisms, I was learning hoodoo and root work from the spirits down there. Like, fucking Savannah is badass for magic. Like, that's my favorite city. Straight out. Like, one of my favorite cities of all time. So, using this stuff, it has purpose. And so if you can help somebody with your blends or your spells, or if you've got a booth, you know, at your local convention and you've got our signage and what have you, right? Like, you sit down with somebody and you're talking about the spells that you're making, or the books that you're working on, and the contributions to the community that you're making on a national level. Fuck, we've got people that watch this stuff that want me to teach them, and they're in England. Like, this is an international thing now. Like, we're international with a spell a day, folks. Like, it might seem small, but it's already international. Like, I'm working with this wonderful lady up in Canada. Her name is Lise, right? She's dealing with grief and the coming through that, but she's incorporating the medicine wheel. She's going through the First Nations with it. She's helping people on the tribes and reservations and stuff process their grief, okay? Like, that's powerful. And she's doing it in a way that uplifts the community in such a massive way. I would love to see what happens when she goes international with her products and services, right? Like, the programs she sells are, you know, expensive but worth it. Like, what would you rather do? Spend the next 10 years in suffering and grief, or would you rather pay $5,000 and then be done with it? Like, for me, I'd pay the money and be done with it. Like, That's what I've done all year. Is I've spent a lot of money on my education in order to be able to build businesses the right way. Like the resources that are at our disposal, as far as the community development goes, we have training for everything in business, from funnels to speaking to building courses to all of that. I have as an access point and a portal to teach you as a development process in your occult business. Like if you become a local emissary, right, you have the opportunity to go through all that training. That's provided in the course. So what we're doing is really important, because it's not, like I said, it's not just magic. It's business training. It's community development training. It's outreach. It's what services can you provide in the way that you can provide them, given your physical or emotional limitations at the time, right? Like, I'm not ready yet to go outside into the world and start putting the stuff on shelves in stores. Why? Because I don't have 3 months of work done. I don't have all the spells made. I don't have products that they can test themselves yet. This is why we're building the products that people can test themselves. Like this few weeks, like we're week 5, day 3, is a journey, right? So what we do, and as we create this journey with others, we link arms and we say, we are going live and we are talking about our experiences. We are giving our gnosis, and it's not bullshit. Those people that want to sit back and poo-poo the higher gnosis of the divine planes, or they want to try to discount the wisdom of the ancient books, right? They don't realize how literal our ancestors were. Like, they didn't shit around. Like, it really is impressive. So, you know, this is a journey of life. This isn't something that you just do for 3 months and stop. This is something that you start for 3 months, you develop your dedication for it, and you go all in. Like, 3 months of training with me, with my friends, like, what we can create for you, so you can create for others, is an empire built on your power, built on your application of the divine, you as the extension of the kami, you as the divine emissary, right? So that as you light your candles, as you create your spells, as you weave your magic in the world, you are a link to the divine, and there is nothing separating you and the power and nature. It's just how you deliver that into the community. So that as you serve the community, how you serve becomes the light by which you are recognized. Like, you know, you want to become the witch of the woods of your region, fucking do it, you know? But you have to be able to step forward and say, these are my spells. These are the things I will teach you. These are the things that I will not do. These are the things that I will do, right? And there is a necessity for that. And so with today's journey, it just begins, my friends. So stay safe on yours. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow and at 2 p.m. for the Right in the Afternoon. And if you have the time, I recommend that you go through and you watch and you make notes. And if you have questions, and if you have techniques that you want to learn, if you have comments that you want to make, shoot me a message. I'll be happy to go through that. I really appreciate you sticking with me for these 20 minutes. Thank you. Be safe. Many blessings, and a happy Yule, my friends.